Okay, I've got YouTube up and running again. Probably lost everybody there though, anybody who was there. Next step, I've got to just give me one more thing I have to do. I don't know if it's a power surge. It's because it didn't affect anything other than trade ideas. Brokerage, my brokerage platform still was there, so I don't understand. Okay, just give me a moment, okay? Just need one more thing to do. All right. Well, I've got everything back up and running. Okay, now let me regain my bearings here. So OPAD, wow, OPAD, what a nice move. So it took out yesterday's high like nothing, and now it's challenging the high before the day before that, 2 days ago. Actually, I haven't been there for a long time, AJ. Yeah, it was actually positive for a while. Haven't had to exactly. Well, yeah, just next low looking left for Best Buy is down here at 71.46. So a little bit of room still. But I wonder why it would only affect trade ideas. Actually affected anything I had open in Edge. Okay, so it affected my browser. That's what was affected. My downloads. You saw that what happened. Well, you didn't see what happened. I had some black screens and they came right back. So is that right? So your TI glitched. Did you get a black screen for a bit, Sam? Like not like in some Windows. My Momo went completely black, and okay. So I blame trade ideas. Then if it happened to you too. But all my anything I had in a browser went down, including, of course, YouTube, my music. But that's why I guess Trade Ideas just did not completely shut down, and Interactive Brokers still remained. So I didn't have to close it. I did not have to close Trade Ideas. It did come back. But anyway, let's hope that doesn't happen again. So I think I was in the middle. I was literally in mid word. I think talking about if you're new to trading, this I think that the race is good for you because it develops a top 10 list that you can look at all day long. Now, you don't have to have this race. I mean, you can have your own type of race. This race really looks at, these can be very volatile stocks in here. If you wanted less volatile stocks, say larger cap stocks, you would just build your race around that. I can show people how to do that if they want, but it'd be the same principle. You'd have a top 10 list. And what happens is I am running you, and the race is customizable. So I'm running 4-minute races. You can run whatever time frame you want. Ooh, this could be an interesting one. Look at Rhyme. So Rhyme 251 is the next high, but there's the VWAP right up here, 235. So kind of prevents me from taking it right now. So here's how I suggest you take a look at the races and how to use it. First of all, number one, you don't have to wait for a race to be over for in order for you to click on a symbol. Okay, if you see, you can click on any of the symbols you see. I've reduced this to the top eight, just eight instead of 10. It really doesn't make that much difference. But if you see something starting to move up in the race, or actually anything here, click on it. You don't have to wait for the race to be over. Certainly, something that is leading the race right now, I would absolutely click on it. And there's the OPAD as an example. PXLW, sort of interesting. 1062 is the next high. If it takes out today's high, all races start from a top list window. Yeah, you need to open a top list window. All races start from a top list window. So if I right, I want to duplicate this one because I'll show you also how you can adjust anything in your race. So for instance, I get the question, well, can I have so I see I've reduced it from 10 to 8 race lanes. This is my time, my minutes to run. It's going to auto start at 9:30. You can have it running in the pre-market if you want. I just started at 9:30 Eastern time, of course, but this is, customizable. And this is what the race is based on. If I open the top list, this is what it is based on. This is the top list that I'm using. And here are the filters that I'm using. This is why I'm saying you can construct your own top list. If you wanted to only see stocks that were, a little less volatile, you could add a market cap in here as a filter, maybe the market cap of a billion or whatever you consider, maybe a minimum float value, 50 million. You could add things in here, which then is going to prevent you from seeing, these wild and crazy ones. Still pretty good though. But so all races start from a top list window. And again, it's just a matter of whatever filters you want. Because once you have your top list window, then you just right click and you launch the race. Okay. You just launch the race or you show the tree map. Tree maps. This tree map here is starts off from a top list window also. Okay. So you could even create your own symbol list. Now, it should have a few stocks in it, but you could even just have your own symbol list of stocks that you want to follow and run races on it. Watch list, symbol list, okay? But make sure it has a few symbols in it. Otherwise, it probably weren't worth it. But maybe you had 30 symbols stocks you really wanted to follow. It doesn't have to be the same 30 every day, but if you just wanted to follow those 30 symbols all day long, you could run a race on them. It would just be a matter of in the configure, if you've created your symbol list and then you just only the following lists and you attach it. You just attach it to your top list window. That's how you can follow then just stocks, that you want to follow all day long. So let's see how SOGP is doing. Okay, so it's pulled back. Now, if you're a VWAP player, look at what it's pulling back into. Hard to see it. It's in the cloud right here, guys. But well, you can see right there. The VWAP is around 610. Okay, the area. So it's pulling back into the area of the VWAP. So if you're a VWAP type player, you might you might look at this and say, okay, I'm going to play this one for a bounce, and you put your stop just under the VWAP because if it broke down through it, you want to be out. So how's this MOBX doing? So this is the tree map, okay, and you'll probably see, this very similar stocks in here, okay, as they're maybe making their way up. So this is the news on this one. Secures design, wins, ships, advanced, filtered mill spec connectors. So this is the drone planes. The drone plays guys are obviously very hot. Steve, I don't know if he's still in his RR. Yeah, I mean this guy he probably took some profit, or I don't know if he's still in it. I knew he was in it a couple of days ago, and this got up. I know he sold somewhere around the 270 mark 2 days ago. And look what it did though, got up to 388 yesterday. So the drone plays. So maybe MOBX is just kind of starting out, kind of like drone, kind of like this one did. Well, let's get RR up and running. Well, RR came from $2 2 days ago, got up to almost four. So here's MOBX. So if you're looking for drone plays, it started at $1 today, just under $1. I think I've sort of missed the boat on this one. That's pull back into the VWAP. Another pull back into the VWAP play for MOBX. Where is the next buy on the weekly chart? So getting close. Okay, look at that 135. So it's getting very close. Now I'm very surprised if that float is right. 27 million. There are 4.7 million shares at Interactive Brokers for short. So I don't know if you're still in the room. In our YouTube room, Dorf, you're at, this is a low cap one, and there are shorts available. Well, BBY, the 7121 is, if you're, I don't know if you're asking me, William, but the low in the week last week was 7121, and it got down to 7139. So, you know, it's if that keeps holding it, but I mean it's still drifting down, isn't it? If that doesn't hold it though, the next low underneath is 67.55. Yeah. So again, here's in the top 10 list. So what you do, you don't have to necessarily follow. Well, you can follow the current race, of course, but just click on some of these that have won races before. Okay, just click on them and see what's happening. Somebody just mentioned the VAR is going crazy, and it is. And you can see our RMTI won a race. So now our top 10, our top 10 is finished. Well, not finished, but I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean the same symbols will be there at the end of the day. And there's the RMTI. Now, why wouldn't I take this? Well, look at the 200-day moving average right there. I would not take this one. I'm sorry, that is not. That's on the weekly. So let me get back to my daily chart. So you see what it did. It got into the 200-day moving average. The 200-day moving average seems to have held it as support. Now it's moving off it. It's interesting. SOGP, since the start of the race, it was leading, but it's also down the most in the last 5 minutes. But you can see what it was doing. It was trying to pop a little bit, but it's still down the most in the last 5 minutes. So again, if you're looking at this, this is this also shows you the ones that have moved the most down in 5 minutes. Okay, so that's how you can take a look at something like this, and it's a negative number. You click on it, and you can maybe it's coming into a support area that you like. Maybe the VWAP. In this case, no, it's underneath it. But maybe there's a moving average on your chart that you like that you think can act as support. Okay, guys. So I guess those Michigan numbers that came out at 10 right there. So that actually looked like it helped the market a bit. Okay. The Chicago PMI, I think that's what drove it down. Then we have all those Michigan numbers that came out at 10 and are flitting around this area. Now the SPY is through the VWAP. So it's actually gone positive. Dow is down a little. Qs are up a little. SPYs are up a little. And I think that's it for the any economic numbers coming out today. Yeah, Steve Gomez uses the 10 SMA on the 15-minute chart a lot. If you have 15-minute chart, you can have it. He uses it a lot. The 10 SMA and the 15-minute chart. I don't have it on here, but he uses it a lot. He swears by it. Stock comes into it. He watches to see if it holds, and then if it bounces. He also uses it if he's in a trade. Okay, and so if I think he keeps in the trade unless it broke. Now that would mean he's in a lot earlier, of course. Look, I kept my eye on this one still. Look at this BBWI, Bath and Body Works, 29.22. That was the low of a few days ago, and it burst through that now. Well, I have the SPY here at basically flat, Jack. I have it here basically flat, up 14 cents. I mean, it's basically flat. Yeah. Do I? So the question in our YouTube room from Paola: how does our AI determine the stops? A lot of times it can be the low of the day. Just looking at PZG, it was the alert was here, but there's no hard and fast rule. Okay, excuse me. A lot of times it was the low of the day. So I'm looking at ICM as an example. So here's the 935. See, that looks like the low of the day. A lot of times it's the low of the day, Paula. Okay, Paula. I see an ICM. That's what it was. But in this case, it wasn't AQB. It wasn't. So there's no, but not always. Okay, not always. Because look at AQB. AQB, the alert was here, and the low of the day, the 930 candle is down here at $1.09, and the stop was $1.38. Now I'm finding that, especially with these cheap ones, they're pretty aggressive on their stops, pretty close. So in that particular case, it was not the low of the day. Okay. Okay, guys, this is a gap down and reversal play. It's already done a big reversal. So DBWI is just continuing down. The next low looking left, 28.38. So it's getting close to that. This is an earnings play, okay? DBWI is an earnings play, and the next low is 28.38. Let's see if that holds it. I'll put a price alert there, and maybe we get a bounce off that low. Maybe. I think he got it from Brian Shannon songs. Okay, if you're asking, so the question in our main room is where did Steve G got the his 130-minute candle idea from? It's on a 5-minute chart, I guess. I think he got that from Brian Shannon. Pretty sure of Anchor VWAP fame. Okay, I think that's where he got it from. Thank you, Pepe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. That I don't know where Brian got it from. If he came up, if he came up with it himself, or probably if you do, why don't you just do a Google or ask Gemini. Maybe that'll tell you. Ah, okay. I guess Steve is doing double duty this week. He'll be in our YouTube room in about an hour and 10 minutes. Okay, guys, take a breath here. Watching to see it. Maybe we'll get a bounce play for this BBWI. I, not Y. BBWI. So Pepe, I did make some changes. My machine was really noisy yesterday. It's not noisy today at all. Made some changes here. Only 50 in the top list. Yesterday, it hadn't because I hadn't saved it or something because it was 100. I also reduced the lanes to 8. Ooh, okay, FTHM. The high looking left a couple of days ago was 234, and then you got up here $3. So let's keep an eye on this one, FTHM. I mean, it's up 30%. I cannot fathom the reason why it is, but I'm just looking to see if there's any. Well, there's probably some news a few days ago why it popped. The second race I found taxing. I could try it again, but I did find the second race. But even when I exited it, my machine was very noisy all day. But I think it's excellent today. Yeah, keep an eye on this FTHM, guys. I mean, it's maybe on a pullback. I mean, a pullback to the VWAP area is 211. I'll put a price alert around that area. See if it pulls back. It's close. Ooh, notepad, yeah. Now taking out that high even. So you can see OPAD has won 3 races. Maybe it's more than likely. Well, it's just going to win. It's going to win its 4th race. It's interesting because you see some days in this race, you'll see stocks that have won like 10, 20, 25 races. Well, obviously, those are super active. I mean, I'm not saying that 4 races is anything to sneeze at, but you see some stocks winning race after race after race after race. It doesn't necessarily mean they're the high of the day. Just they could have pulled back and then starting to win a race again. Remember, the race, all this means, not all, but what it means is how a stock wins a race. When the race starts, so we are now almost a minute into a race, this stock has moved the most since the start of the race, like any other race. It's just looking at all the stocks that were in this big top list. If I open the top list again, so here's the beauty of the race. You could have a stock that's way down here. It has to be at least 2% up from yesterday's close. So you can see the pay is way down here. It's squeaking in here. But what if pay for some reason pay is at 2.1% right now? What if pay for some reason just started to move? It's up 3%, 4%, 5%, 8%. You'd never be able to see that. You've got a giant list of stocks. How are you going to see that? That's the beauty of the race. The race doesn't care if the stock is near, up the most from yesterday's close. All it cares about is what is moving up in this list of stocks. That's all it cares about. What is moving up the most? Now, in this case, OPAD is near, is one of the big movers, but out of nowhere, one of these stocks down here could just start to move, and that's the beauty of the race. Well, I'm pretty sure it was the SMA song because we don't have EMA. I'm pretty sure it was the 130 was the EMA SMA. So here's one that's pulling back. Okay, THH pulling back. This is like an IPO today, or symbol name change, or is this a SPAC? It's right at that $10 level. No, price at $4. Okay, and out of Japan, and not much offered. 1.5 million shares. So this is right now, anyway. This is a very successful IPO right now. It just got halted. Okay, maybe keep an eye on this one, guys. Just sneaking over a dollar now. IFRX sneaking over a dollar. No news that I can see. Take a look at it on the weekly chart. Wow. So keep an eye on this one, guys. Keep an eye on this one. Yes, it is an IPO. PHH IPO today out of Japan. Keep an eye on this one, guys. Look at the room left, $1.90. This I mean, it's trading three times normal, and it's only 384,000 shares. It's not moving. It's like it's halted, but it's not halted. Out of Germany, 56 million in the float. Well, it's just not trading. I'm looking to see if it's halted, but I don't see that it's halted at all. It's not halted. Missed this one. Gap continuation down, gap and go down. An all-time low right now, I believe. Yes, it's an all-time low. This was this one. This was one of those IPOs that had a lot of promise. Not so much now, guys. Yeah, it's not working. Well, it is working in that they want. I haven't tested it again. You might have to go to the website, and it may be just a registration, or maybe they're starting to charge for it. We're talking about the IPO scoop. There are other sites out there that can I can find IPOs. I like that one the best because it was. I think the presentation was awesome. So, guys, I mean, there's your keep an eye on this Fathom at FTHM. I mean, there's the high right there. There's got a breakthrough. Look what it did, right into it, 232, and the high is at 234. So within 2 cents of that high, and that is stalling it so far. It's only one day. I know it's only one day. I think I'm crazy. Yeah, but how can that be resistance? Well, I've just seen it too many times. But even one day doesn't have to be several days. Hey, this AQB. Any news? I don't see any news on it today. Here's the VWAP right down there at 140. All right, so THH halted on the way down, and it's now starting to move down. But if you pop back over 10, guys, this is again a Japanese IPO today. In our YouTube room, pre-tash. Okay, so I mean, there's trade ideas. I'm sharing a lot of my scans. Okay, what you see here, I'm sharing a lot of my scans. So you might want to take a look at them. Give me a moment. I'll put the link in for you. Depends on your trading style, of course, but when you say algo trading, I mean, I don't call it algo trading. It's just, intraday trading. But if you click on my homepage link, okay, click on my homepage link. I'm talking to Pritesh in our YouTube room. So click on my homepage link, and you will scroll. If you scroll down, you scan. So these are the ones. These are the ones that you can actually see. Okay, and this, pretty volatile stocks here and here. But these are the movers of the day. Okay, most up. Well, could be up or down in 5 minutes. This is the biggest gainers from the start of the race right here. The momentum scan. Now, when you say, so these are my scans, okay, but I mean, I'm sharing them. So here's the momentum scan here. Pulse resumes is it's basically more information. And then a couple others that I am sharing is a gap continuation or reversal scan, which is right here. And I'm also sharing this, not too many alerts usually, is this abnormal option activity combo scan from Pepe. Okay, so you can take a look at them. You don't have to have them all up and running. Depends on your trading style, of course, but we have scans here. This is what I use in the pre-market. Pre-market app is up and down. And we also have, if you click on new from our toolbar, and then click on docked channel bar, these are all theme-based channels, and there are scans in every one of these. They're all theme-based channels. Click on the show more, you'll see them all. Okay, so you can take a look at them. Explosive winners, as an example. You can take a look at them. So I guess to answer your question, yes, we do have a lot of pre-built scans, I suppose. Those are the trade ideas, okay, in the channel bar. Those are the trade ideas, pre-built scans. And of course, but I'm sharing mine also. Now, remember now, they are scans, okay? So they're going to generate ideas for you. It doesn't mean that when a stock comes in, when you see it, it doesn't mean you just hop into the trade. You've got to have some trading experience, of course. You hear me talk about looking left all of the time. It doesn't have to be your style though, but I'm always looking left to see where a stock could go before it hits that next high. And I can see it right there. That's why I'm not taking the FTHM right now. I might take it if it breaks that high, because then you look left and the next high is up here at 3. And that high right there is 234. If I didn't see it on the daily chart, in other words, if I looked left and there's nothing for me to see, everything I see is underneath the current price, then I go to a weekly chart to take a look. Hey guys, AQB on the move a little bit here, a little bit on the move. Okay, so this is what I mean when I talk about looking left. So I look AQB. Sure, I could scroll back and I could find the next guy in the daily chart if I scroll back enough. But I don't want to do that. That's when I turn to the weekly chart to see if I can see anything. I can't see anything even on the weekly chart. I can keep scrolling back. Now I'll go to the monthly chart. Okay, and now I can see the next high is 162. So I mean, that could be blocked at 162. It's not scientific that it's absolutely going to happen. I've just seen it happen enough times that it's drilled into me. Many times, something like this could just power right through that, and it doesn't bother me because I've seen too many times where those next highs looking left do stall it. Good example of that would be the SOGP. which I did take, but looking left, look where it stalled. 689, and that next high looking left was 689. Was that right? Right to the penny. 689, and that high looking left. Well, there, I mean, right to the penny, 689, and that's where it stalled. Now, doesn't have, it's not necessarily going to stall there. This is a lifetime, basically a lifetime high for this stock. So that's why, I may in fact take this trade again if it breaks through 7 later on. But it's uncanny how much that works with just looking left. For me, okay? Others might look at that and go, that doesn't work for me, and that's fine. Here's Ryan looking left. For me, it's too close. And look, if somebody told me take it at 243 and it's going to get right into 259, and I took enough shares, sure. But I don't know that's going to happen. I always think that, you know, traders will start to offload before it starts hitting that because they think that might act as resistance. So there could be offloading, between here and there. Well, I sort of like it. I mean, the reentry on it was 140, okay? The reentry was 140. But, again, looking left, and it's got, it doesn't have like well, the monthly chart doesn't have a massive amount of room, 162. So I wish the next high was like almost two, as an example, or even 180. Oh, what a short that was, the Vasco. Victoria's Secret, FCSO. FC? How about FSCO? So here, same sort of idea though, if you're shorting something. So take a look on the daily chart. Where could it go? Well, obviously, oh, give me a moment. Okay, guys, SOGP just tested 7. Okay, breath holding time. Oh, 7. Give me a moment, guys. Time is it now? 11:12. So yeah, about 45 minutes. I'm on a break, but give me a moment as I'm watching this SOGP. Second break at 7, guys, could be really, really, really good. Let's see. Meanwhile, I think BBWI just took out that low looking left. I think it just took it out. That was my price alert. If you're not using price alerts, guys, I mean, you're not using the program to its fullest. like it right up in this area here, maybe 715 level if it gets there. Remember, there's no resistance. It's an all-time high, so I don't have to worry about looking left really on the SOGP. It's just a matter of, yeah, I mean, it's like 84%. How many people are, how many people were down here at 460 still holding? Probably not many, but it's just hanging at that 7 level. Sorry, guys, I have to watch this one. It's just not a matter. I mean, the price alert alerted me when it got to 7, but this could look at the volume. Look at the volume that's coming in. It could be almost the biggest volume bar of the day right there on the 5 minute chart. There it is right there. I think that's the biggest. Now this is the biggest volume bar of the day on the 5 minute chart. Interesting because it pulled back underneath the VWAP in a fairly big way. So there's the AQB guys, pulling back. I didn't love it because it didn't have enough for me anyway. Did not have enough room. Looking left. Okay, for now I will. No, I did pop over 7 again. So why am I fixated on 7? It's a whole number. I always look at whole numbers as being big psychological barriers. Okay. Now I have to watch this very closely, okay? Just because it's had a couple of, big moves down before. All right, I have turned off. Okay, I'm gonna hold on. I hope it takes over that 7:30 again. it's gone parabolic. You can see it's way above the cloud now. Well, I don't know about patience. I mean, I'm oh, oh. See, it's hard to follow the wave on these, these low float stocks. The problem is that you can see. Well, I'll explain this probably after my break. I mean, you can follow it, but to try to keep in a stock just because the trend is still up, blue with this wave here, a lot easier on stocks that are not quite as volatile to keep in a trade. Okay, let me keep putting for price alerts here. Maybe get 750. Yeah, because you get these wild swings. I mean, the problem with these volatile ones is that they jump way like they parabolic now. It's way above the wave. Much better if it at least keeps in contact with it, and not have as many wide bars. How can I avoid ETFs in the top list? Because when I use the float filter, it sometimes doesn't show stocks that are in play. So, Arthur, so there's the good news and the bad news. Okay. So, if you use the earnings per share filter, so for instance, if I wanted to not have, I don't have very many ETFs in there, but I don't think I have any. So, oh, wow, I thought it jumped to 326, but no, it's 266. What happened? Just give me a moment. What the heck happened there? I am muted. Sorry about that. I don't know why I muted myself. So you can use the EPS filter. Okay, that'll block EPS. That'll block ETFs because ETFs don't have earnings, of course. The problem is sometimes it'll block stocks that are foreign. I've noticed some Israeli stocks. stocks that don't show any float values. Okay, so that's the good news is you can do it, but the bad news is sometimes you will not see stocks that you want to see. So I've taken it out. Doesn't bug me too much. I typically don't see too many ETFs in any of my scans, and so the odd one I see doesn't bother me. Now, hopefully, so that's how you can do it. Hopefully, we are changing. Hopefully by Monday, I've been told we have a deal going with Dilution Tracker. We've signed up with Dilution Tracker (DT), which is where every time we don't see floats or we look at a float that maybe looks a little suspect, we check Dilution Tracker. So we now are going to be using Dilution Tracker. So hopefully all that'll go away. Okay, and then we'll have all the float information. So I was hoping maybe even by Friday. That's tomorrow. No, Monday. On Monday's, of course, Labor Day, so that's a holiday, market holiday. But I'm hoping by next week. We've been asking for it for a long time. And I'm just reading some news internal on our Slack thread, and it looks like the new beta. They tested it last night. Looks like the new beta will be released. Why is that important? So anybody with our premium service will have access to the money machine in simulation mode, so they can test it out. Okay, you need our premium service. Um, Come on, SOGP. There's your high right up here. Remember, there's no resistance. Okay, the only resistance is profit taking. Seriously, and maybe those of you who might use fibs, extended fibs, things like that, because there's no resistance on the chart because it's an all-time high. Yes, I've traded some out. Yes, I have. I've traded most out. Probably I would have been able to hold on if it hadn't done this earlier. Going from 7 down to 573. Let's take a look at something here, though. Here's TCOM. I want to see TCOM as an example. Okay, this is a great visual presentation of the cloud wave, of the trade wave. Okay, see what I mean? How a lot easier it is to keep in the trade, and something like a TCOM, it's got a big float, half a billion plus in the float. You see how you don't get these wild candles piercing through and up and down, up and down. It's a lot more easy to keep in the trade when you have a trade wave that looks like this. Nothing has gone terribly parabolic. I'm not saying that, here, as you're getting a little bit of a pierce into it, yeah, maybe you take some off, but this allows you to keep in the trade a lot longer. This is how I have been using TradeWave. Not so much in the volatile stocks, but the ones that are not as volatile, and it just allows you to keep in the trade a lot longer until it transitions to orange. Now, what I would always be doing, if I saw a little bit of a downturn, I would take the 2-minute chart to see if there's any orange showing. I'm sure it's not. Okay. So this is a very strong, this is still a strong trend, using the cloud wave, or trade wave, we call it, using trade wave to keep you in a trade. I don't care about the buy flag or the sell flags. because it's possible I could have clicked on an alert at one of my scans, and I could have looked at this and said, "Ah, I want to take this trade right now." Okay, I didn't see the buy flag back here, but now I use the wave to keep me in the trade a lot longer than I ever used to. Ever used to. It was just over 7. I'm just looking here, 7 for the SOGP. No, you don't have to pay. So the question in our YouTube room, do you have to pay extra for TradeWave? No. So let me show anybody who's interested. I'll show you how you activate TradeWave on your charts if you want them. Okay. So the first thing to look at is you take a chart, any chart, pick a chart, any chart. Right click on it, and you should see an option that says Use Browser Interface. So again, right click on your chart, big pop up. You should see an option that says Use Browser Interface. Okay. So if you haven't checked already, then just don't uncheck it. But if you don't have it checked, check it. Okay. Now, the wave is displayed on my screen right now on my chart right now, but in yours it will not. How do you get the orange and blue? Well, this is the default. It's not candles though. It's a way. It's not candles. Okay, so let me keep going. The next step. The next step. More than likely on your chart, you'll see once you do check use browser interface. Hopefully at the top here, you'll see an option that says FX. FX. Okay. I'm on a development build, so that FX is not up here, but I have it here in this little indicator. So I click on it. Now I have trade weight. If you can see the FX in your chart, click on it, and then trade weight should be one of the options. And then that's what you click on it. When I click on it, it's going to disappear. It's a toggle on and off. See how it's toggle on and off? So that's probably what you're looking at. But you have to activate the trade weight. So click on trade weight, and now it comes back. And the default is orange and blue, as far as I know. Okay. So James, did that work for you? And Captain, did that work for you? And you have to do that for every chart. But once you do that, don't forget to save your work. I don't like it on my daily chart because I like to be able to hover over the candle and just see up here quickly where the highs and lows are. Okay, James, so it's working for you. So Captain, do you understand how to get the wave, the actual wave itself? You have to click on FX. Now, if you don't see FX when you right click and you use browser interface, if you don't see it up here, probably because, oh, is that right? I don't recall doing that, Pepe. I did? Okay. You know me better than I do. So obviously that's an option. So I guess, okay, here are the colors. I guess I must have. So that's how so you don't have to do that. I mean, you don't have to. Okay. But that's how you can change your colors. Obviously, I must have, it's just a palette you pick from. Well, that's what I thought. I thought they were orange blue. So I did not. Oh, I see. Okay, it's the candle colors. Oh, I see. Okay, I thought you were talking about. James was talking about the wave itself. Okay, well, you don't have to change your. I don't. Most people probably are using candlesticks number one, and green for up and red for down. You don't have to change them. But you said, how do you get the orange and blue colors in trade wave? That's why I thought that's what you meant. Yeah. So here are my up candles and my down candles on my. Yes. Yes. Okay. So I just picked up for blue and down for sort of a muted red. And guys, don't forget, you make any changes to your charts or anything else, don't forget to save your layout. Don't forget every change you make, you have to save your layout. Otherwise, you will not remember the change. Well, that's a beautiful, beautiful representation of how to stay in a trade. And I find, for the SOGP, you see how much more difficult, see how much more difficult because of, yes, it was blue, 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 but you're going to hold on your whole position when it goes from 691 down to drops over $1. I'm not anyway, but that's why you start to see a little downtrend. Click on a 2-minute chart because the wave will look a lot different on a 2-minute chart, my guess. See how it went orange, but it's flattened orange, a flat orange. Okay, guys, 11:36. So getting close to my break. Now remember, today I'm leaving at 2 o'clock. Okay, I'm not sticking around after 2 o'clock for questions at all. I'm leaving at 2 o'clock. William, I'm sure he'll keep the room after I leave. Man, I missed this short. See, here's another. See, even on a 2-minute chart for our ARX, AI, ARX. Look at this. I mean, so here's where I would have taken some profit. I was in this short up here, and I had an alert on it a long time ago. The minute I made this little move here, I would take some profit. In the old days, I would probably be out of the trade completely, on that move. But because the orange, it did not turn to blue, I would take some profit and then hang on. Now, if it turned blue, I'd be out. But, it keeps you in the on a 2-minute chart, even better on a five. A little bit of profit when it pierced the wave a little bit. And then look at this. How beautiful is that? Keeps you in the trade a lot longer. And again, I don't care about seeing the buy or the sell flag so much. If I get into the trade and the wave is already formed, that's fine. Yeah, I don't know. Kim, by next week we won't have this issue at all anymore regarding the float. because we do have now, we've got a deal with Lucian Tracker. So there's the float, 3.66. I guess we've signed a deal with the Lucian Tracker. Okay. And that's kind of who we have been using when we don't see a float. So James, are you a subscriber to Trade Ideas? You must be, right? Because you just turned it on. You must be a subscriber, right, James? So, and you can hear me. So here's what I would do. Okay, so click on New from the toolbar. Are you? Is it? Well, I'm talking to James Perkins in the YouTube room, not Captain James. So click on New from the toolbar. Okay, and then go to Docked Channel Bar. Docked Channel Bar, and you see where it says Ripsters Ripping or Ripsters Rippers. Okay, this is what it's based on. So click on that. When you do that, and it probably is going to show up on my other monitor. Okay. Okay. So a video pops up. Okay. Now it may pop up behind your channel. Hopefully you can see it. And that gives a good description about what it's all about. Okay. This is a video all about it. Okay. If you click on the channel, sometimes people find they can't see it. You know, if you have multiple monitors, maybe it's on another monitor. Sometimes it's hidden behind the channel like this. Okay. So move it around and hopefully you see it. Okay. Tell you one thing, having the races really keeps me. Okay, there's your 806 now for the SO. I don't have much luck, guys, but you know what? I hope it goes to a million. Seriously, I mean, has no resistance because it's an all-time high. So no chart resistance. The only resistance it has is people taking profit. So I see your question earlier. Yeah, the earlier one was just over six. You asked when did I get in earlier today on the SOGX. SOGP was just over six. So a couple of whole number breaks. Now, remember, well, I think we looked at this IFRX, and I think it has a ton of room, right? Yes. But you know what, guys? I'm taking my break pretty soon, so I don't, these low. It's not a low float, but it's not. It's a cheap stock. See how it's holding the wave on the way up. This is more indicative. I mean, even though it's a cheap stock, this is more indicative of a higher float, 56 million, as opposed to what SOGP was. Where you get the big piercings, but it had a flattening out. This I would not call. I would probably have taken some off here had I been in it. Had I been in it, taken some off here, and then would be holding on, holding on. Well, let's call it what it is, guys. Our AI today has had a stinky day. Really nothing happening. I mean, nothing bad, but just nothing, nothing moving. We have the float. We have a float of 56 million. So let's check. Can't wait. So I don't have to keep doing this. Possible it's less, but let's take a look. No, it's in the ballpark. Okay, they've got 63 million. I mean, I don't mind that. If the float was like a million or 2 million, and we have 56, from our provider, I'd say, well, I don't like that. But that website has 63 million. And guys, sometimes it's really hard to get a handle on the float. These stocks that have probably done several. Well, look at this, 1%. We've done who knows how many. No, no, no. I said 56 million. 56. You probably heard the last, the six. 56 million. So the other website has 63 million. So it's in the ballpark. But look at this. Its lifetime range, 1% red. So again, if you had a lifetime candle, you're right at the very bottom. So when you see that and it's a cheap stock, more than likely they've done many, many, many reverse splits. Surprised we don't see something even high. Well, there you go. See, this never was a 35-cent stock or $40 stock. This is just reverse split adjusted. Here's a new one, guys. Energy, NRGV, NRGV, new one. When I say new one, I haven't seen this one all day. Did you, somebody asked that question yesterday, Rittman. No, I did not get the IFRX stocks from him. Somebody asked that question yesterday. Okay, guys, so I'm just looking at this. Look at the T-com still moving, but you see the little R there? So that could be a resistance area. And it looks like it's, again, I don't know if this is really looking left to see the a daily high, but that is the monthly high a few months ago, back in January. Well, you could argue that the first, if you have my momentum scan, there it is. 469 was the first alert, right on the market open. In theory, so I don't like taking them right on the market open, but that was the first alert here for us. And but we were watching it in the pre-market. We saw it, we saw it in the pre-market. Okay, guys. So so OPAD I think had a pullback. So look what it did. Again, if you're VWAP, I can't follow all these, but if you're looking, as I said many times, click on the alerts. Click on the ones that, if you have this one, click on the ones that are in the top 10, periodically, and look at the OPAD. So if you're a VWAP type player, look what it did. Got right into the VWAP. That's a tremendous bounce off the VWAP. I think we were talking about this one earlier, because that, maybe not. That was 11:20, half an hour ago, but if you click on these alerts, or these ones that have won races and are in the top 10, you don't have to just see what's happening with them. Here's the ICCM. I mean, I don't like it because you look left and it's got, well, let me get to a daily chart, get to a weekly chart. Yeah, so I had to go to a monthly chart, and there are areas where I think it could stall that are fairly close. But again, if you're a VWAP player, look how well it's holding the VWAP. But OPAD was awesome. They don't all do this, but I mean, a lot of people will look at this, and look at the VWAP as a very powerful indicator, watching it get into the VWAP and acting as support. Now, if it breaks down, then that support is over, obviously. But you don't know, just because it gets into the VWAP, is it going to hold? You have to kind of watch it for a bit. But you had an opportunity to watch it for 10 minutes anyway. And then on that bar right there, you said, okay, I think it's going to hold. And then all you do is put a stop underneath the VWAP. That gets you out of the trade. I mean, that's a big a percentage pullback from the high, right? 516 down to 443. I mean, that's a big percentage pullback. Don't worry, guys, my screen has not gone black. Well, it has gone black, but all right, guys, 11:54. Wow, it's a fast morning for me. So what I'm going to do now is put the YouTube link in, so you can head over to YouTube at around noon. You'll go now. Well, you can go now. You'll be. I'm still talking until noon in our YouTube stream. And this is the link to get into YouTube when I take my break at noon. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be Steve Gomez. After I come back, I only have an hour. I'm gone at 2 o'clock. Okay, no questions, no nothing. 2 o'clock comes, I'm out of here. Great. So I'm just going to wait for Steve to show up. I'll hear a little ping in the YouTube room. That'll tell me he's there, and then I'll mute myself in the main room. Well, that was. Oh, YouTubers can hear me. I accidentally shut down the main room. Sorry about that, guys. That was my fault. In their main room, I accidentally shut it down. Okay, guys, 11:56. So just waiting on Steve to show up. Now this is a new one, guys, that I haven't seen today. KLRS. Let's take a look at this one. So on the weekly chart, obviously there is room, but let's take a look at the month. Wow, so this has got some room. The KLRS, the next high looking left is 691 on the monthly chart. So it's breaking free here. I think this might have been some kind of an IPO. Looks like, yeah, it started trading as KLRS. Might have been an IPO, might have been a SPAC, might have been a symbol name change. So, but look at the room it's got. I think it's going to get there, but that is, that's what we look for to see. Now, do I want to chase it now? No, but I'd like to see maybe if it pulls back a little bit. Yeah, it's not really a break. When I say I take a break, it's not really like, oh, I go down and snooze for an hour, do a video of a workout, maybe grab a bite, and then I'm right back on my chair. It's mainly a break from the mic because my voice a bit of a rest. And yeah, and I try to throw some lawn watering in also. Okay, so here's OPAD pulling back again a little bit, but not much. Now, if it pull back to the VWAP again, I mean, I probably look at it like maybe only one pullback to the VWAP. If it pulls back again, I mean, it could bounce, but I find it a little more suspect. Like a second pullback to the VWAP. Not the watering, William, not the watering. Only everything else. Thank goodness. It's therapeutic though. Watering is therapeutic. Have to put a price alert up here, guys, for the IFRX. Piece later on, maybe tomorrow. I mean, maybe tomorrow it takes it out.
Hello, Barry.
Steve. Okay, just give me one moment, Steve. Okay, guys, Steve is in our YouTube room right now, so let me mute myself. We'll see you guys in the main room in about 1 hour. Give me one moment, Steve, as I shut down my music so I can hear you more clearly. There we are. Okay, so I saw some of the comment. Hi, Steve.
Hello.
I saw some of the comments, so maybe tomorrow or maybe Monday for the new beta.
I'm not sure. There's a meeting after this hour. That's the meeting I go to. So I'll
Okay.
have to find out then. Otherwise, I'd just be shooting from the hip.
Yeah. Okay.
But I've been
But
testing, and it's working. But there's a few things that still need to be ironed out, and then they have to wrap it all up into one package and make sure everything that's in there is that they want to be in there. And then they release that beta version.
Okay. Cool. And the other one is definitely going to dilution tracker, right? For our
Yeah, that's a certainty.
Okay.
Either probably Brad said by tomorrow, if not over the weekend. And we're going to have much better float data. We're having like a 2 layers. So we're adding a layer to do to FactSet that we have now with dilution tracker, and another one, I can't recall the name. It's a short float that updates very frequently. So I really think next week, the people that rely on float and short float data are going to see some massive improvements. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And then it'll save me from always having to explain, well, contact Dan between 12 and 1 on Wednesdays.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's the best thing that he does is he shows up and faces the music. So yeah, have at it.
Yeah. Okay, Steve, I know that you have to leave at about 5 to 1, so I'll try to get back then and see you in a bit.
Okay, sounds good. All right, hello everybody. I was just noticing that comment that was just deplorable 71. Hello. And if you'll notice, I've got my little money machine simulator working here. And this is my strategy. You bring up the point of the 10 SMA while I'm incorporating my 10 SMA. All right. We'll show the, let's see, how can I do that? Oh, I have to turn the machine off to show it. But it's essentially just looking for strong stocks that aren't up too much. This one's up, let's see. Yeah, it's up a lot, but not too much in the last few days. Honestly, when I look at this one at face value, it's gapped up a lot and it's bled through its 10 SMA. So this is an example really in the money machine where you might just go, I'll take that 30 bucks, take that trade and let another one pop in down here at the bottom. And let's see how close to the 10 SMA this one is. Hey, that's pretty nice. Another gap up, buying at the 10 SMA. So it's a slow refining process I'm working on here. And of course, I'll be happy to share any of my findings next week when everybody's turned on the premium subscription and you're starting from scratch and you're staring at, oops, I just stopped the money machine. Didn't mean to do that, but that's okay. I wanted to show the settings and they were hiding behind the screen there. So what I can do now is I can show you the configuration. What is the money machine that I have programmed to my liking? And of course, these can become templates too that we will create going forward. But this would be a pretty good template for a strong stock buying the pullback. And as Deplorable says, I'm incorporating my love of the 10 SMA on a 15-minute chart into this. And so right here is where you see that. I'll take anything 1/4% below and 1/4% above. That's actually pretty generous. Something more like maybe 1/10% below and above. I might even experiment with changing that. But here's a critical one. Change in 3 days, 3% minimum. It's up over 5 days. But not to exceed 60%, because I found a couple in my strategy practice simulating that something would jump into something that gapped up and it's run for 5 days and it's up 120%. And I don't really want to be in those. It's very rare for a stock to hold a 100% gain in a short period of time. So I'm capping it. And these are all the values that I can continue to kind of tweak and work with to try and refine the money machine. Change from the close up today. Obviously, we need something to be up that can pull back. Price $2 minimum. I'll take anything above that. Relative volume. I want to see at least a 20% increase in normal volume and then volume today. I've thought about adding the old average daily volume, but it's the same old adage that Barry and the rest of the room have discussed. What value do you give yourself in suppressing a stock that might only average 50,000 shares a day, but all of a sudden has incredible news, and you miss it because your you're playing the average in the past. So that's why we use volume today. And, 200,000 is probably a good minimum. If something's trading 200,000, it's workable. It's liquid enough to manage. All right. So welcome, everybody. If you were sent here by support, you really have first priority for assistance or help in building anything. I usually just start talking about the market, which NVIDIA, of course, is the market. Yesterday, wild gyrations after hours, and people are looking at NVIDIA as a bellwether for the market. What's the temperature? Is NVIDIA sick? Then the market might get sick. Is NVIDIA happy? Then the market might stay happy. But for now, it's like plucking a big rubber band. We're just kind of waiting to see where it settles. My positions, I am continuing to really lean on the drones and the robotic stuff. If you guys were with me on Tuesday, I nailed Richter Robotics. I was kind of talking about this one in real time, and just faded out of the rest of that one yesterday. Really good trade. And so this one's kind of the shot across the bow. It's the flags planted that says, hey, robotics might be in play. That might be the new darling small cap sector. Look at that volume. Giant move. Apparently, I think they had some news. But this is a company that's going to slowly start to, go look them up. You'll see their webpage. They're building little desktop robots to serve drinks or drive around hospitals and deliver things, or dust and clean basic stuff. It's the entry level beginning to, hey, I want to own some autonomous device to help me do something. So my positions today, I've sold some UAVS, bought some back this morning. I was on the golf course yesterday, so I wasn't really managing much. So that has brought me to these crazy small cap stocks, which, by the way, I'm not afraid of being in small caps right now, because look at the IWM. It's outperforming the NASDAQ and the S&P. So small cap stocks are in play. And more than that, if we go through a lot of these names, I'm in the short floats, 22, 23% in UAVS. Sound is something I'm also in, 32%. I love that. That has been an interesting play. Andy and I have been trying to pick a bottom in this thing for a few days, and he nudged me this morning. And when it held that gap up, I bought some. And then I talk about this a lot, you guys. I was using the 5-day moving average here. There's a great example of how I used the 5-day moving average today. This guy. So it's been being rejected. I bought half here, and I told myself I'm going to add the other half when it closes and establishes and plants a flag above the 5-day moving average right there. And then I just sold some at 1260. So now I've got a half a position, taking some off the table. I'm going to see if I can get another day out of this. But back to the autonomous stuff and the short float stuff. SRFM supposedly has a 30% short. So I'm trying to pick on the short small caps, and then also get tricky with, using the drone. Here's another one, UMAC, Unusual Machines. Development company. Okay, they don't make a lot of money probably, but the drone solution, first person view. Oh, so they're more into products and entertainment, recreation, racing. Okay. Totally different segment than like military drones or autonomous vehicles delivering food, but they're all in there. So I like this UMAC chart. Why? Because I didn't chase it. I watched it go a few days ago. And as I always tell myself, it's going to set up again. Selling, and then boom, came right into here. And I'm basically long right here. What else do I have today? Oh, okay. I've got MindMed. I've been wanting to find an entry in this one and watched it go up there and then just to be reversed. But I like this little cup it's got going on. It's just kind of being cradled very nicely there. And I like the story of MindMed, 14% short on that one. Andy just nudged me a minute ago, and I bought some Tesla off of the 150. So you guys, here's another example of me using this blue line as a strategy. In this case, it was an entry strategy. You're not going to see me buy in this candle. You're going to see me waiting for stocks that have been running for 3 or 4 days that are pulling back to a level of interest. And that's where I like to buy. And that's a half position, by the way, because if it wants to trade down another day and really flirt with this 10 SMA, I'll be laying in wait to buy the second half of Tesla. So this is a good example of just, surfing the market. I've been in and out of Tesla probably 10 times since it was called Trade of the Week. And actually, I called it a generational low in my social media down here at 230. So doesn't mean I'm going to hold on to it and tie up capital and stare at it every day. I'm a trader. I like to clean the decks. I like to take profits. I like to find new setups. I like to go hunting. And you can't go hunting when you're sitting in a portfolio of stuff that you believe is going to be great 5 years from now. Let's turn the money machine back on, and I'll show you some of the things I've been doing. Now, I feel like I'll show you this before I enter. So if I take hide zero positions, here's my trades for today. And it seems like with this strategy, I've got some winners and I've got some losers, but I'm not really breaking away. So there's some more P&L, or I'm sorry, some more stop loss, trailing stop work that needs to be done here to try and tighten up, maybe some better target work, stuff that really shoots up. I got to be better at targets. But when I hide those positions, all right, very important tool. You're all going to need to use this, hide positions. Now we're going to turn it back on, and we're going to start to buy pullbacks again. Let's just quickly look and visually see how close they are to the 10 SMA. Ooh, that one gapped up, but this one's going sideways into the 10 SMA. I like that. I'm going to keep that one. But here's immediately I'm going to say, I'm not risking $75 on this. I'm going to risk 30. So I'm kind of overriding. I'm letting the money. I like that's a good looking stock. I'll keep that, but I'm going to tighten that up a little bit. And I think we already did that one. Here comes another one. Oh, BE, that's an interesting play. Really extended on the daily, so I'm going to tighten that stop as well. All right, let me minimize that because I see some questions. Shoot, hey, Jim, could we not use the money machine to make something like that bouncing? That's what we're doing. That's exactly what I'm doing. I didn't even get that far because, no, I didn't. I was showing you guys. These are strong stocks that pull back, and the entry is derived on the all filters being satisfied. So when something gets close to the 10 SMA that's been running up for a few days and is up today and pulling back, I want to buy that. The only problem I have with this one is it's really extended. So I can pull this up and say, I do a lot of manual overriding here. BE, I do like that. I do like that stock in terms of the model, but I'm going to give it a really tight stop. Okay, question. So yes, you could use that, or I could substitute that filter for the 10 SMA, Jim, and do VWAP instead. I don't like the way this UGP looks, so I can pull that up. And I could say, I don't like you. You're done. Flat. You're breaking down. You've run too much. I think that's one of the things I need to work on more. Some of these stocks I'm finding have just run way too much. So I'm going to have to work on that. And again, this spitballing and thinking out loud is what everybody is going to need to do. There's a reason we're not releasing it live. Everybody needs to get familiar with it and practice range, batting cage this thing. The blue line Yale is a 130 SMA, and it has to be on a 15-minute chart because 130 15-minute candles equals 5 perfect days of trading. And so I call this my 5-day moving average, and it's intraday. Why do I use it? I don't know. I'm just on a random stock here, and look at what held support. And when I'm interested in a stock, or I want to see a stock hold support, this is what I look at. And so if I was looking at this to try and sell, if it broke, if it started to bleed down on those 2 tests, I would have sold it. So it comes into play no matter really what you're doing, whether you're looking to make an entry like I did in Tesla. I used it for an entry. Now I'm kind of in the money because I let it bleed through a little bit and then I bought it. This mentality that I'm explaining to you right here, I don't think I can emphasize enough. If you're a brand new trader, you're going to want to chase Tesla after 3 green bars because you feel like it's strong, but it's the worst thing you can do. The markets and price action are designed to fake out the herds. They move up and make new higher lows. And then when they break out of prior highs, they don't run very far. So we try to figure out where they're going to make a new higher low, a new base camp. And in this case, I'm just kind of starting at my key indicator there, the 5-day moving average. Hello, Stacy. Random question. With your comments of getting in and out of the stock, would it correlate with TradeWave? Yes, it would. The TradeWave on the let's actually do that. We'll demonstrate that, because in my experience, we can go from what I'm in now. I'm going to stop Money Machine. Okay, now we can go into our main menu, and I'm still going to do volume pullbacks. I had another one called short squeeze pullbacks, but it was limiting myself to only the high short ones, and I didn't want to limit myself. But notice right here, this is going to be the one where the whole menu changes right there if I check that. So now, instead of all these percentages and all these stops and all these exits and values, watch what happens to them. Use TradeWave. Stops and exits. Oh, okay. So now we've got a new menu. Well, I'm using 15-minute TradeWave. Some people are having good success, 10-minute TradeWave. So I might change to that. And here's where you go. Exit on the close below the bottom, close below the top. Let's see. Candle closes. See what I'm doing? I'm doing the tooltip here. So when you guys get your hands on this, use this hover and read. Candle closes below the top of the wave for exits. Candle closes below the bottom of the wave. And so it's talking about I believe the color of the wave, which I need to turn on. Entry, close above top. So let's see, when we enter, the candle closes above the top of the wave for entries. Closes above the bottom for entries. I'm going to leave those as is. And that's really all we have. And so I'm going to save profile. You know what? I'm not going to, I don't want to change my charts. So I'm going to go back to 15-minute trade waves. That means the buys and the sells are going to cross over using 15-minute time frames. Now we can turn this on. We can kind of monitor what's happening. Now, here's what I noticed before I turn it on. Trade wave really slows things down. So it's probably a great place to start. And starting with TradeWave, it's not going to be as fast. That was my first observation. My second observation was it doesn't pick it up right away. It seems to wait for some real confirmation. So let's take a look and see what we get. So we'll start it running the trade waves. And let's see what we're getting. We've got five quick trades. By the way, there we go. We need to get that to move out a little bit. So what it's doing is it appears to me we're still using my logic of the strategy, which we have to have. We got to tell it when to buy. But we're using the point that we're in a blue color trade wave. We're not buying it in an S. So it's kind of like a fail-safe guardrail for ourselves. So that's what the first trade looks like, simulated, of course. That one's ran pretty far, but it's still very much blue. So what I'm noticing is, and what I'll ask Brad and Dan is there a way to try and, maybe find these entries closer to the buy tag rather than waiting for just a big, thick color band? And maybe that's what that adjustment was in the menu. I've only been playing with it for a week and I'm still learning a lot. So here's a trade wave that's been a buy tag for 2 days. So it seems like I'm going to stop the money machine. It seems like under that setting, maybe that's what it is. Entry, close above the top. Let's see what happens if we change it to that. Close above the bottom. What will our entries look like if we do that? Turn it back on. What do our entries look like now? So they're not closing above the top of the band. They're inside the band. Okay, I think that's what's happening. No, I can't tell. I'll have to qualify that and get back to you. Because I haven't really experimented too much with the trade wave on the money machine. And it seems like a lot of these stocks I'm pulling up, they've had a really good run already. So I'm going to I'm going to make a mental note to myself. 5-day change. I don't know, or maybe even consecutive candles. I don't know. I don't want to see something that's had 6 green candles in a row. I might have to dial those back a little bit, because what I'm getting at is a lot of the entries that I seem to find myself in are very extended. That's apparent. And so that's one of the things I can do to clean up what I showed you guys earlier. I think the fact that there was a good amount of winners and a good few amount of losers. And then we've just been experimenting down here. So as you can see, it's going to take a good few weeks for everybody to really kind of find their niche, find their, of course, we'll have templates and places, starting points, and these daily live sessions will be great. Of course, Dan was here yesterday and every Wednesday. It's not out yet, Iris. This is the premium user money machine that hopefully is coming out either tomorrow or Monday. I don't know. It depends on how fast the developers get out of tree branches and make sure everything works. Trading Tesla and Sound all day. Yeah, the Sound trade is just nothing but an overbought trade. I'm going to stop the money machine there. Focus on something else now. Sound, I like to see that. I'd like to manage a few of the positions I've got here. Let's see. Oh, Hertz has fallen back on me. Okay. So let me turn off, because I don't use it and I don't want to confuse people with it, but I just want to show you. I'm long Hertz. I bought it yesterday, so I'm in the money. So I have to accept pullback. Now, in this case, the blue line, the 5-day moving average, becomes an area of interest in the context of, okay, looks like we're going to test it. If it tests it and it can't hold it, I'll just take what pittance I have and move on. And so that's how it's coming into play now for me in this Hertz trade. And again, Hertz, you're seeing most of my stock, most of my trades are in high short floats, kind of small cap stuff. How did that UMAC resolve? Just before I came live, UMAC tried to dip down on me, and I said, well, I'm not going to let that get away, so I've got to stop in here just in case. When I go live, sometimes I want to put protective stops in where I feel like I need them. All right, you're welcome, Stacy. Again, this UAVS is a crazy one. This is like one of the original drone stocks. It started off as an agricultural stock, but they seem to be trying to pivot, and they're getting awards and contracts. And I will say this about my daily chart. The blue line is the same color as my 5-day, because I almost feel like it's the same level of support. On my daily chart, that 50-day moving average is just like a 5-day moving average on my 15-minute chart. Major levels of intraday support that I need to see hold, like Hertz. Like, what is the green line, the anchored VWAP? This is the green line is, okay, this is a price alert. For whatever reason, I wanted to know when that triggered. So watch what I can do. I can say, all right, that's an old price alert. I can do one of two things. I can pull up my price alert page, and I can delete all the ones that are triggered. But maybe I'll just say, let me grab that and pull it up to today's high, and it turns blue. Now it's active again. So on the screen you just saw, it went from triggered back to active. And for all these others, I can just say, that's too much noise. I'll just delete those triggered ones. But the price alert is extremely important, because when you see something setting up, The last thing you want to do is be early because that means you're guessing. But you want to be alerted to when it happens. So if you're working on a chat or an email, it goes off and you immediately stop what you're doing and you come over and you say, I set this price alert because I thought there could be a short squeeze above a certain amount. And here we are. My prior self was trying to nudge my current self to buy this. Do I want to buy it? And that's it. Sometimes you might pass. Sometimes you might say, boom, thank you. So now Tesla is coming into what I call a pinch play. And it's very possible it might make new lows, but it's not going to bother me if it does. I'm kind of legging into the green line following the candles. Okay. I'm not sure which green line. If you're talking about this, that's the current price. I'm not sure which one you're talking about. What green line? Sorry, Yale. I'm not quite sure which. The green line, is that anchored VWAP? I don't have any green indicators. Anything green I see is the current, that's the current price tag on the right-hand side. But if you're more descriptive, I can try and find it. All right, so the sound, again, sold half, oversold trade. And I'll back up again for those that missed it. In this case, I was using my 5-day moving average to add to a position. I was waiting for it to close above and establish a ground above, and then I added to it. The top line appears greenish. Are you talking about this? Oh, I don't want to do that. Shit, I did it. Once I did that, it took everything. Crap. All right, let me reset this. Darn it. How do I reset this? There we go. Ah, I just learned how to do that. A little button at the end. On Tesla. So sound just alert went off. Okay. I'm going to stay with it. I've already taken half profits and I'm just going to stay with it. I'm going to move my price alert higher. I'll move my price alert up there. All right, so somebody's saying Tesla. A line along the candles. If you're talking, okay, all right, I'm silly me. This is my other moving average. This is the 10 SMA. So what was I just talking about? I was going to make a point there. Yes, Tesla is getting ready to pinch between the 10 SMA and the 50. And so what I do is I watch this and I say, well, we're going to get a corner here. The price is going to get painted into the corner. Which way will it resolve? Will the 10 SMA force it lower or will it break above the 10 SMA? Yeah, so this is my 10 SMA. Thank you. I'm sorry I didn't catch on to that earlier. It's a dark green. That's what threw me off. So these are my only two indicators that I will use in my 15-minute screen, which is my daily screen is my main screen, but my decision-making screen is my 15-minute. And so it's very important for me over the years I've learned to not have 7 indicators in one chart, because then you start waiting for all the planets to align and you miss things and you overanalyze. I just want to see price action, volume, and how are these guardrails working? This is my main guardrail, the 5 SMA. And when something's in motion, look back here, when Tesla was really pumping, it will hold that 10 SMA. So I call this the momentum line. And then once it breaks momentum, it's kind of hard to get it back. So for you, Yale, or anybody else, you can have my setting as it is. I can save it and share it to the cloud, and anybody can open up this chart and use it the same way that I am. I've never used, actually, I shouldn't say, I used to use a 5-minute, but I haven't used a 5-minute chart in a decade or longer. Short squeeze table on your chart. Yes, I can share that. I'll share it as the, notice if I turn the tree map off, you've got all of them in here, but it's sorted on change from the close. So when we put the tree map on, it's giving us the heat map of the strong ones. So I can share this as well. Because as I was saying, yeah, this is the season for short squeezing. Ooh, I just made that up. I like that. The season for short squeezing. There we go. You thought the purple was the 50 SMA? Purple. If you see a purple line, it's going to be anchored VWAP. So let me pull up a chart, and I'll say, okay, anchor VWAP time. Here's my anchor. I'm going to select the high, and a purple line should come in. Now, what that's telling me, and I just learned this, is if I am going to be fortunate enough to get a big move in UAVS, I'm not going to expect much past that purple line. So anytime you see a purple line, it's likely going to be anchored VWAP. I don't see a purple line on my 15-minute chart. I've got my blue and my green. So yeah. So I just shared the chart with you. This is a 5-day. And again, anybody can make it. It's 130 candles, 130 SMA on a 15-minute chart. Will get you a smoothed out, really solid guardrail. Highly recommend it. And I learned this through Brian Shannon, who wrote the book on it. And just noticing we're getting a little bit of uptick down here in red. So I wonder if the market's pulling back a little bit. Yeah, you can see on the charts, on the Trade Ideas charts, the time frame. So the D for the daily and 15 minutes over here on the right. Andy's telling me he's had enough fun and sound. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, since I already sold half, we just talked about this 10 SMA, holding the line. So I would be premature to sell it here. I want to ride this out as long as I can because I think it can get up to here on the daily. So I'll know if I'm wrong if it gives me a closing candle below that line. And if that's what is in store, then I'll sell the rest. But this is a perfect example of, you always hear them say, try to let your profits run. Well, since I sold half, it's a lot easier to let that other half run. And, you can just get in a couple momentary thoughts of, oh my God, I better, and then you're mad at the close because you left a bunch on the table. So I've found what works for me the best is I use this 10 SMA as my decision maker. It's free to come down and touch it, but as long as it bounces back up and doesn't close below that line, I'm okay with it. was just looking at some of the Bitcoin and XRP stuff. I have been playing XRPI, and I'm ashamed to admit it's gotten the best of me because, kind of like silver, you lose control overnight. That's why I don't know how Andy does so well with his China stocks. You lose control sometimes overnight. But again, on this sound, I'm going to stay in this thing. Oh no, I see a new low in UAVS here. I don't like that. All right, I think I'm caught up on questions. If anybody was sent here for some help and support, let me know. I have no idea. See, this one's, I like the daily chart on this one, and I like, it's kind of like, you know, it's not autonomous, but this is a weird one. This is electric air transport. But I've just noticed this day here, and I'm not going to give it too much more, I don't think. It's not a winner for me. It didn't follow through on this day. But if you were with me on Tuesday, RR was a really nice winner. And so I'm still kind of digging in that well, thinking, are these robot autonomous stocks still in play this week? That's kind of where my mind is. I need this UAVS to behave. So again, it's just kind of riding this 5-day moving average. If it were to close at the end of the day below this line, I'd probably exit. I wouldn't stick around. But my point being is when I get, just in a mood in the middle of the day and you just kind of have a moment and then you make a decision to bail on something in the middle of the day before the day has completed and the candle has completed, I oftentimes regret that. And again, I'm always happy to look at anybody's charts out there that you guys are struggling with. Oh, I saw somebody typed zoos earlier. Kind of low volume. That's really low volume for me. 65,000 shares is not a lot to work with. And you can see the chart looks like a dot and dash club there. So that's an example of that. I would pull something up like that and discount it just because of the volume. But I've got this Tesla trying to hold the 5-day. Oops. You can see a very clean, we're now in a perfect situation where the price has been painted into the corner. And these two moving averages act as the corner. The next 15-minute candle and how it closes will probably tell me what's in store. Is it going to bounce here or is it going to go lower? And that's, that's really my thought process. A lot of the other stuff, it's just not doing much. MindMed, I like that daily chart. I like this look right there. Really nice sideways action, sitting and resting above the moving averages. Sometimes you're just waiting for something to happen. I still have that UMAC. It's might be a day early. It's very easy to be a day early. This just might be the day of rest here. And then after some pullback, maybe we'll see something tomorrow. So if I can just survive the day without it going to lows, I'll be happy on that. This is good. I like to see Hertz going back up. Hertz is now finding itself into the pinch play, as I call it. Just like Tesla is finding itself. We still have 5 minutes before the candles close. The one that's bugging me the most is this one. I don't know anything about the company. I was just playing the chart and the short squeeze. Again, geez, I could, let me just do a quick search and verify that. That's a big number, 32%. And I don't know if that's correct. However, starting next week, I believe we'll be able to rely a lot more on that. That number does not appear to be correct. It looks like it's more like 15%. So hopefully we won't have to verify that much more when we're curious. When the new data provider is layered on top, we'll have some better updated float shorts and percentages. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put an alert in here that says I don't want this wick down here to be challenged again. So I'm going to just nudge myself. If that triggers, I don't want to see it trigger, but if it does, I have a decision to make. See how that sound was a big red candle and some people sold? Well, it turned into a wick for the most part, and it looks like it may want to hold that 10 SMA. So this is how I use this line. Keeps me in trades. One of the hardest things to do is stay in a good trade. This sound is so damn oversold. And when you have something so oversold, sometimes you get a bit more bounce out of it than you think you would. So that's why I feel this red line, this 20 and this 10-day moving average, I feel like this is my target. And I don't see a reason why I can't get it in one day. So you guys can see how I'm constantly using the daily and the intraday to try and paint the story. Just that's all I need is a 15-minute chart with those two moving averages and a daily chart. Here's the 10, here's the 20, and the 50, and the 200 moving average, and that's it. I like my moving averages because I think years ago I discovered that since the market is now run by algorithms and quants, they need inputs and outputs and targets and levels and triggers. And for whatever reason, these moving averages are a dynamic type of data point. It's not a pivot level. And I've just noticed that, and it's the same thing goes for VWAP. And if you think about it, you got a big institution who's got an order to buy 500,000 shares of XYZ. They are going to hold that market maker that they gave the order to work to the VWAP. How close is my average price on the day to the VWAP? It better not be way above it, because if it is, you guys are never going to get my orders again. If you manage to get me in 500,000 shares with a couple ticks below the daily VWAP, well, you're my friend and I'll be sending you orders all day long. So with that said, that dynamic of what's happening behind the scene, a lot of times this 10 SMA and the daily VWAP line up. Let's just take a look just for fun here. So we'll go quick indicators, VWAP. There's that dark line is the VWAP. So you can see in the early going on the early part of the day, the VWAP really did have, and I probably should be using this more than I do, but I use my 10. But right about here, it broke way above the VWAP, and so we're pretty stretched out, which means these buyers are having to really pay up. And they did try and pull it back down, and as soon as it got to my 10 SMA, the buyers jumped back in. That tells me there's more behind the scenes. Let me turn VWAP off. Quick indicators, VWAP off. And yes, I'm happy to share my daily chart as it is configured. All right, here you go. Let me paste that. There's the code for my daily. So I've dropped both charts for you. Hopefully it's making sense to some of you. And if it does, then you might want to give it a try. again, I'm a swing trader. Barry's a day trader, so Barry's working off the 5-minute charts, taking quicker profits. I'm taking more overnight risk for sure, sometimes, many days, and I'm zooming out. And so I'm letting things pull back a bit more against me than day traders would be comfortable with. So as I mentioned earlier, that Hertz, they did a double test. I'll show you what I mean here. Just to double check and make sure everybody that thinks that this was the low on the day, the algorithms or whatever, maybe they could easily find an air pocket to bring it back down. But they test that low. They test the resolve of the low that was set on the open. And thankfully for me, I don't use that. I was using a 5-day moving average. And as I told you guys half an hour ago, as long as Hertz holds that 5-day moving average, there's just no reason for me to panic. I look over here on the daily, and it's actually pretty pleasant looking. Nice little curving of the moving averages, little curving of the candles. I think $6 is going to be tested again soon in Hertz. And then a good 18% short the float has got me interested, of course. Hello, Tade. Well, it depends on whatever you want to see. I'm talking about so many different things. Trade Ideas is started off as a race car for professional traders who knew what they wanted to circle around and be alerted to in real time. That's the value of our program. Take any type of indicator or a level or positions. If we go to the configure window here, this whole search menu, all these data points are ideas that a lot of traders like to use. And so we can combine these together along with these filters to show us things only when we want to see them. So if you know what you want to see, that's what Trade Ideas is. You can configure it and you can go through the gears and you can drive around the track on it. If you don't know what you're doing, we have things that are a little bit more simplified, like TradeWave, which would take the same chart here and give us a buy and a sell tag for newer traders who aren't really sure. But if they were watching Hertz yesterday, they saw a buy. And if they're not really sure when to sell, we give them the sell. Right now, a buy has not been triggered, but as it turns back up, we may see a buy tag here again. And that goes for any chart you want to see. So that is a downshift for the newer traders who don't really know what they want. So that's a great feature. We're coming up on a new feature. You may have heard it's called the Money Machine. It's going to be something that is automated. It's basically taking scans and making sure you're always in the best of what you want to be in, such as this configuration. I'm looking for strong stocks that are pulling back and then buying them right at the 10 moving average. And so we can turn this back on, but this is all simulation right now. At some point later in the year, we will switch to live trading where people can take what they've learned on the simulator and figure out what they want to try and emulate. Here's a simulated trade, for example. VNet. Let's find a better example. Okay, so another one. They're strong and they're pulling back. So I've kind of programmed this auto trading things to buy stocks as they pull back and touch my favorite line here, which is the line that the buyers will defend if they're all competing against each other. How do I access the move tool to move the price alerts? So let me find a price alert. All you do is you grab it. So I thought I had a price alert. No, I didn't. I erased it. So the way to set it would be just right click and create it. You can type in your notes. That's step one. But if you really want to just dial it in, you hold it with your left mouse and say, I want to see when it breaks back above 350. My future self would appreciate that knowledge. So my current self will set that trigger. And maybe sometime soon that trigger will go off. All right, guys, I got like 5 more minutes. These NASDAQs are starting to really get going again. really can't stop this market, even though the NVIDIA is not doing too much. But I've been more focused on the IWM, the Russell 2000, the small caps. Still holding up for me. Notice this R that just came in. You guys will have this in your next beta version. And it's really come in handy for me as a trader. Like if I was itching to sell more sound, well, now that it's up and moving up and it's got a nice change in, 2-hour change, Trade Ideas will draw this resistance line for me. It's basically just like when Barry and I look left, we go, oh, this is an interesting level. Well, now that level is being automated for you and drawn. And I could just say, well, maybe I'll just throw a limit order out there at 276, front run that line a little bit to sell some more. Matter of fact, I'm going to. So bring up that order. I will highlight the shares. Limit, what did I say that was? 78. So I'll front run it at 75, 76. Review, send. So I've got an order pending up there to sell some more of this. And I'm really pleased that we did add this line, because for me as a trader, it reminds me, stop being as greedy of a pig as you're being, Steve. This is a perfect level that sellers are going to jump in on. You should probably use that level to shave off another little chunk of profit as well. Help me get over previous market trading environments. I got used to shorting, mean reverting, but it hasn't been that climate. Yeah, the point you're bringing up is, what's the climate? And so shorting is not a good climate right now. The NASDAQ was being held back, but now the NASDAQ is blowing up again. This is not an environment to short. There's a right way to short and right stocks to short, but it's a very tricky game. I would rather identify strong stocks and buy them on pullbacks like I did with Tesla. I watched Andy make money, and I was never in. I'm not chasing Andy. No, I'm not chasing Andy. I'm not chasing. Okay, this was the reversal yesterday. And today I nibbled a very first half size using this pullback, using my favorite indicator, and it's working. And the pinch play that I talked about earlier, for the moment, Tesla really seems to be holding on there. So this is what works for me in this environment. Not trying to short things, but definitely not chasing things, but waiting for a reason to buy a pullback. Not just because you see a red candle, but a pivot level or a major moving average. The system is automated to trade by itself, but it's all going to be simulated. So TADE, I would invite you, if you're not a current subscriber, we're going to have probably a trial coming up. We call it a test drive. And you would be able to come in and play around with it. And people are going to have access to this in a simulated form only, before anybody would be wise to turn somebody loose live with real money. And E-Trade, Interactive Brokers, we're working with TradeStation now. These are some of the early brokers that are going to sign up to be connected. All right, thank you. Yes, Barry and I and Andy have over 100 years of experience. Probably.
God, are we that old?
I don't know. Maybe 90. I've got 30.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. So I'm sure we're 100.
We're close.
Steve, I think maybe you can put in your pullback to the 10 the 10 on the 15.
Yeah, let me do that. I can easily do that.
Asking for it, and then you can go.
So let me bring this up again. I think I can share it without turning it off. Yeah, I can copy that, collaborate. So the idea is, we're not using the cloud links for this. A big important point here. We're using the collaboration function. So what that means is, what I send you, you're going to want to open a new top list like so, and then you're going to want to collaborate when you've assumed my link, and then you're going to say paste. And then that will give you the actual alert at which you can use the collaborate function, because that's what we're using in the Money Machine settings. We're adding and deleting collaborates, not cloud links. That said,
Steve, before you go, I know you're into the robotics or the drones, etc. You might want to just take a look at MOBX, Xylophone, MOBX. Okay, it might be just starting out. It's a cheap one,
Oh,
over
I
a
do
dollar.
like that. Yeah, I do like that. Thank you.
Yeah, because
I will star that so I don't lose track of it, and then I might even put a price alert there just to look at it. But that collaboration didn't come through. So what I'm going to do is something instead. I think I'm just going to give you the cloud link, and then you can go from there. Pull back to the 10. This is going to be it. Pretty sure this is what I had up earlier. Yep. 25. Yep. No, that was not it. Can you email me and I'll send you the collaboration. And what's happening, whoever asked for that, the collaboration string is too long for me to paste in the chat. So just attention, Steve, info@trade-ideas. And you can request the actual setting that I'm using here, which is called the pullback to the 10 SMA. Okay, then I'll be able to get that to you. All right, I guess I better run.
Steve. Yeah,
I'll exit the studio.
Yeah, just no
Not
shutdown,
end stream.
just exit.
I could end stream right there if I click that, but I won't. All right, see you, everybody. I'll see you next week. Bye.
Okay, guys, I am back in both rooms, and I got to talk about the OPAD. I got to talk about Pepe's combo scanner today. So just give me a moment. I just need my music to start ringing in my ears. There we go. All right, guys. So, when I take a break, I'm not really breaking. I mean, usually it's about half an hour, just a break from the mic, do a little exercise, do my video, do a couple other things. Then I'm sitting back here, and you know what I noticed? I noticed on Pepe's combo scanner, this has been awesome today. And I saw the OPAD here, a little late. It looks like it's 11:50, but it already had run before. But at 11:50 and 516 was the alert price, and so I waited on it a little bit. And I think I let it get to 530, right that line right there, 530, 533. And that's where I pounced on it. And so far, so good. Obviously, really good. I mean, it got up to 630. If it gets back down through 6 again, I'll definitely take some profit on it. But look at the other ones. I mean, here's Bill. Here's the more expensive one. This has been an earnings play. 46.45 on the alert. And, before it pulled back at all, it got up to 48. Don't have to talk about even this looks really late, right? 10:22. Well, how can you take this stock at 10:22 when it's already run about a bunch? SOGP 688 was the alert. Obviously, got up to almost 12. We just talked about the OPAD. This is the Granite. I'm going to share. This is a 2-time long for the CRWD. I don't typically look at those, but then this one just showed up, the LTRX. You don't usually get late ones in this scan. 450. I'll have to take a look at that one and see if it, but you see right there, there's the next high looking left, 452. So a lot of night, there's been a ton of excellent alerts. I mean, I'm, only 2 on the short side from the gap continuation or reversal scan. But look at this one, 24.25, 21.25 now. It's a $3 move. And I think probably this has probably had a bit of a bounce after. Yeah, 29.29, but before it bounced, it got down to 28.41. So a couple on the short side right there. Just been some fabulous moves today, guys. And obviously, all these crazy low floaters. So a lot going on. I did my video on SOGP, and I was saying, look, if something wins 6, at that point, I think I'd won 12 races. If you see something that has won like a whole bunch of races all day long, click on it and see what's happening. Maybe it's pulling back to a level you like. Maybe it's pulling back to the VWAP. Maybe it's pulling back to a moving average that you like. I know Steve was talking about, he loves a 10 SMA on the 15-minute chart. So you want to put it on your 15-minute chart. You want to follow what kind of like he does. Yeah, go for it. I don't do that, but that's okay. The OPAD. Is it? Let's take a look at a couple of the other ones. these ones have only won a couple of races, but when you get something that's won 16 races today, and there will be some days in which a stock has won 30 races. Got to follow it all day, and I mean all day. Okay, that got me out of not all of it, but most of my OPAD. Okay, I could it went under six again. But look at the cloud. I mean, in theory, it should be still in it, but it is broken above it, so it's gone really parabolic. But I'll hold on a piece just to see if it wants to have some more room to run. I think I looked at the. I think it has $8 on the monthly chart. Yeah, so it has eight. I'm not saying it's getting there, but there is the next high on the monthly chart, $8. You're trying to upgrade your account. Well, we shouldn't be stopping you from doing that, Yael. Very surprised. Try again. I You've given them your email address, right? Talking to Yael in our YouTube room. So info at trade-ideas.com. Give them your email address and say, hey, I want to upgrade. Oh, you did speak with somebody yesterday. Okay. Oh, Rittman, I answered you a long time ago. You asked that question a long time ago, I guess, regarding the risk levels. The answer is no. You're talking about the little dotted line. Well, they haven't responded. Hmm. Yeah, I answered that quite a while ago. Maybe you probably didn't hear me. Haven't responded. Sometimes our emails go to spam. You know what I'm going to do, Yael? I'm going to private message you, okay? So, and you can give me your email, and I'm going to, because I don't want you to put it here. So here's a test. You should see it. You should see test. Okay, hi. So just give me your email here. Don't put it in the main room, okay? Hey, give me a moment. I'll just scratch it down. Okay, let me give them your email and let's find out what's going on, okay? Oh, just give me a moment, okay? I made a mistake on my video, so I have to do something first. Hey guys, I just have to put myself on mute for a bit. I have to find this video. Okay, so give me a moment. Oh, excuse me. Okay, Yael, I've given them your email and all that, so hopefully somebody will look at it right now. See, Kelly is accessing what I just posted. Well, okay, so it says that Kelly says she has been in contact with you. So is it possible it's not, you haven't seen the email? Kelly Morales? Because she says she has been in contact with you. Maybe you missed the email or you thought it was spam or something. Her name is Kelly at Trade Ideas. Okay. Maybe search your emails and see if you can find it. Because usually we're pretty prompt when somebody wants to upgrade or take out a subscription. So usually we're pretty prompt. Well, a reentry level on Notepad. Well, okay. I mean, there's the VWAP is way down there. That'd be pretty a severe pullback. Well, when you say you're still waiting to hear from her today, she said that she contacted you. She's been in Have you not seen the email that she sent? So you don't see anything from her? Not. How about yesterday though? You because you wanted it yesterday, right? How about yesterday? Now, when you say you spoke with someone yesterday, but they haven't responded today, what were they supposed to respond about? Okay, guys, sorry. Now, so we have some pullbacks now. Now this FTHM, I was really interested in this one. Oh, I've missed it. I've missed it. I had that price alert at shoot. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I had my price alert set there at 234. It pulled back a little bit. You see what happened? It pulled back a little bit, got into the VWAP, then I got doing other things, and then it took it out again. Now, it's not like a huge move yet, but why did I like it? Because look at the room it's got, 310. But I've missed it, in my opinion. I'm not going to chase it now. Okay, so she's set, Kelly says she just sent you another email. Okay, so keep an eye out for it. Another email. Boy, this ARX, guys, what a fantastic short. Look at the 15-minute chart on it. I mean, there's hardly any blips up. It was always underneath the VWAP all day long. Well, once it moved down. This is its first earnings play. It was an IPO a few weeks ago. Okay, well, you were standing by. Okay, well, she said she just sent it to you. I guess maybe with the upgrade instructions, like how much it's going to cost and all that. Okay, good. You're all set. I was talking to what happened to your name 161 instead of Monica? Oh no, Yael. Hold it. Who am I talking to? Am I talking to Yael or am I talking to Monica? Yael, that's what I thought. What happened to 161? Why are you 161 now? Probably don't know, right? You just logged in again and it. Well, it doesn't matter. We know who you are. You see your picture is there, so I know who you are. Okay, guys. Here's another really probably one that I'm going to kick myself. Maybe not that much. But look at PAHC, guys. So another one that's following the wave. Only one little jog down. This is another earnings play. Never had a ton of volume. Never had a ton of volume. I mean, it's 5.7 times normal, but no idea, Mighty Mouse. I have no idea what it's going to. It's coming in tomorrow, isn't it? The PCE data is coming in tomorrow. I have no idea. I don't really look at it like that. Whatever it is, it is. Because I'm an intraday trader. I just react one way or the other. But so I have no thoughts or comments on it whatsoever. I was asked, what do I think the PCE number is going to come in at? Anybody in the room want to have an opinion on it? I just don't. Bill, still making another move up. So, if you're not into these wild ones, I mean, it's great to be in the wild ones when you're on the right side of them, but they can be there. They are a challenge. But some of these some of these ones in the gap continuation or reversal scan, they're more like this. Okay, so Rich says it's expected to rise by 0.2%. The price index. Okay, so that's I guess that's what the pundits are saying. But I didn't even know it was coming out. How's that? Okay, guys, I've got another 40 minutes left. I'm leaving right at 2 o'clock, right on the button. Okay, so I won't be sticking around for questions or anything like that. So I've got about 40 minutes left in the room. So if you have questions, do them now. Before I do go, one last look at my homepage. So we do have a promo on. Okay, so we do have a promotion on right now, Labor Day promotion. So you can get 28% off a premium, come on, a premium annual subscription. Okay, only the premium annual, 22% off all the other ones, the 2 monthlies and the standard annual. So if you want to take out a premium annual, you can get 28% off. Here are the codes to use: Barry 28 or Barry 22, depending on what plan you take. All I ask, please use my code, whatever it's going to be. Changes from time to time, of course, on my homepage. Helps to keep the room free. And also, you should, if you want to be in the room, in the main, I should actually put this in. Well, I already put my homepage in the YouTube room. So if you ever want to come into what I call the main room, this is what the main room looks like. A lot more action, more traders are in there. You just save my homepage link, and then you go to the trading room. You have to do that. You have to do that every day. Okay, I have to do the same thing. Click on the trading room, and that'll get you into the what I call the main room. Both rooms, they hear me and they see my screen. It's just a lot more activity in the main room. If you want to stay in YouTube, that's fine. Education section. So if you clicked on my homepage link, the first thing you should do, if you do take out a subscription, is the Getting Started with Trade Ideas. Short videos, very short videos to get you started. Not going to make you an expert, but at least you get you started understanding, obviously things like what are alert windows, what are top list windows, etc. You don't have trade ideas and you're wondering about maybe taking out a subscription, what I would do is I take a look at these videos. Take a look at the videos. Okay, you can, and that might help make up your mind whether or not you want to even try us. Back to basics. If you are new to trading, this is for you. A whole series of free videos if you are new to trading. So guys, I took the what is it? I just took that LTRX. It's from this scan right there. I had to wait for that little break, which was right there. So I've taken it and let's see what happens. If it gets back down there, I'll get out. But if it, let's see if it, I look at it like maybe like a little scalp trade. I should also look at it on the monthly chart to see where it could go. There is, so it's a little bit above that. The next high in the monthly chart is up here at 663. So that, I'm not saying it's going to get there, obviously, but at least it has some room on the monthly chart. And last, if you're looking for my scans and you've clicked on my homepage link, leave it at the top. Here they are, middle section. Here are the scans that I'm currently sharing. Okay. This is what I use in the pre-market. The pre-market acts up and down. This is what I've been showing you, this gap continuation or reversal scan. Produced a lot of nice alerts today. Sorry, right there. This is the, call it the Pepe combo scan. That's where I just saw the LTRX. But awesome, these first three. This is more like an ETF, so I didn't really look at that. Here is the momentum scan. Now, all I've done with the momentum scan to change it is I just want to see the alert one time. You don't have to do the same thing. Here's the Pulse resumes. Here is the change in 5 minutes. I also have a change in 2 minutes if you want a shorter time frame. And then here is the race. I would really take a look at this race, guys. Okay, this is where you're going to get all the crazy ones. But you can create a race that is a little less volatile easily. If you're interested, I'll show you how. Okay, so Wei Dong, I can't help you, but I'll direct you to the people who can. You want to get an annual plan, and they'll figure out a way to do it, how much it's going to cost, etc. Okay. So when you contact, I've just given you the email, okay? info@trade-ideas.com right underneath. When you contact them, tell them what you want to do and give them your email address so they can look up your account, okay? I'm talking to Wei Dong in our YouTube room, okay? You mean, how do you set a price alert? Or how do you, when you say, yeah, when you say, how do you set an alert in the Momo scan, you mean a price alert, or what do you mean by an alert? You mean like a new high of the day, or? So you're talking here, and this is the momentum scan. So what do you mean by setting an alert? Well, this is designed to show you stocks that have an increase in volume, a big increase in volume, and then at the high of the day. That's what it's designed to do. So you can see at the beginning of the day. I don't like trading at the very beginning, but you can see SOGP right at the very beginning of the day. I haven't stopped it. And as I said before, if I didn't, what I've done here is I've just said, okay, in the properties, and I right click on properties, the box pops up, don't repeat. I've just set for a day. I don't want to see it. I just want to see it for the first day. In the version that you have from me, you'll have it repeating over and over and over again. So this is when they're first starting out. And something is moving. Remember, I mean, the volume has in the last minute has to be at least 1,000% of normal, and in 5 minutes, 400% of normal. So, I mean, if you want the repeating version, well, that's what you'll have. So you would see the stock over and over again, and it's going to probably tell you it's moving. It's certainly going to tell you something is moving for sure. But I direct you to the races. The races is telling you something is moving. That's the whole idea of the race. It is telling you something is moving. And it could remember what the race is. The race is based on a top list window. And I've got 50 symbols in here. One of these symbols could be like OPAD right now. Well, let me so I've just sorted it on the change from the close, okay? Now, this STSS, that's been a very volatile stock. What if STSS decided, you know what? All of a sudden really started to move again. It's up 6.7% from yesterday's close. But what if it all of a sudden really started to move? And it's up 9%, 10%, 12, 13, 14, all on the way up. You would never know that. I mean, unless you're staring at this list, and which would be crazy, and trying to spot something that's moving up this list. That's what the race does. That is going to tell you when something is moving. Okay, it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be the one that's moved that's up the most from yesterday's close. It just means that in this list of stocks, something is moving. There's the MOBX. It's moving. It's made a 5% move since the race started. So in 3.5 minutes or so, it has moved 5%. So you might want to try the race when you really want to see things that are moving right now. This is what the race is all about. Now, in this top list window, you can construct your own top list window with your own set of parameters. As I've said a few times, maybe a person wants to. Well, but these are don't necessarily they're not necessarily at the top. When they're moving, they're not necessarily at the top. And the other thing, Yael, is you don't have to wait for the race to be over. You don't have to wait for it to be at the top. If you see it moving up this list, or even anything in the list, just click on it, and see what's happening. It's not going to be too many things to click on, and just see what is happening. You don't have to wait for it to be at the top. You don't have to wait for the race to be over. But again, if a person wanted a less volatile type race, all you have to do is create your own top list window, maybe add market cap, things like that. Minimum market cap that you would want to see. Is it half a million or half a billion, a billion, whatever that market cap is, and then that'll only show you large cap stocks, which are a little obviously not as volatile as these ones. It's not that I'm looking for low float stocks here, but for stocks to be kind of moving in a pretty decent percent, normally they're not going to be a high float or a large market cap. Here's OPAT 22 million in the float, pretty low. So this gives you a watch list for the day. Okay, you'll have 10 automatically created for you over the course of the day. Just have to wait for it to fill out. How do they get filled out? Well, a stock that wins the most races will be at the top, and the second, third, etc. So that's why the SOGP watch all day, won 18 races. Still might be setting up later for something. It might be. I mean, it's starting to. You start to see a little orange now in that 5 minute. Little orange, meaning okay, maybe the trend is really going to change now. Yeah. So not that it really, yeah, it really didn't work. When I say work today, a lot of times that's all I wait for is a reentry. Okay. So how you get the reentry, but today was really a nothing day. I mean, it really didn't do much. But how you do get a reentry, and it will be an alert. It doesn't mean when you call it a new order, it's a new alert, if you will. And how you get that is if the stock hits the stop price at any time, then it goes halfway between the original alert price and the stop, which is pretty darn close in this case. So halfway between 142 and 120 and 138 is $1.40. Halfway between $1.25 and $1.21 is $1.23. Okay, that's how this happens. Only if a stock ever hits the stop at any point during the day and then comes halfway between the original alert price and the stop, then you will get a reentry. Not that I mean, the AI, in my opinion, did not do anything today. I mean, it had three alerts, but nothing. I'm surprised. They're all cheapies. So I hate calling a new order, okay? Because these are not orders. They're alerts. They're just alerts, okay? And you click on it, and if you decide you want to trade, like if you get it at the earliest alert you'll get in our AI is at 9:40. That's the earliest. Nothing happens in the pre-market. That's the earliest alert, and that's by design. Yeah, I mentioned MobX actually to Steve because he's into these robotic plays. Drones. I'll call it drones, drone plays. Okay. And so this might be just starting out. It might be just starting out. I mean, it was under a dollar, it closed under a dollar yesterday. It may be just starting out. Well, there's nothing to demo really. This is it. I mean, the only thing to have up and running is this. And then see, for me, this is just watch list. Okay. So it's like this. This is like well, not a watch list, but this is just generating ideas. This generates ideas. This is generating ideas. How you trade it will be up to you. The only thing I would say is this is, in my opinion, the only window you should really look at to make it easy on yourself. And you load it from here, click on new from the toolbar, and I've got three that start off with premium AI. Pick the middle one that says premium AI strategy trades window. This is what you're going to see. Again, today, a nothing day. The only other thing I would do is when you load it, more than likely, profitable trades is going to be checked. Uncheck it because a trade, you get an alert and maybe it drops and maybe it drops to a level you like better, and then you trade it from there. But you wouldn't see it if you just say, I only want to see the profitable trades. So there's no real how to use if you see what I mean. I mean, somebody could say, well, how do you use this? Well, I mean, how do you use any one of these? But I would just say this is the window and incorporate this as part of your layout. Okay. So tomorrow, when you load trade ideas, and I know you load it before 9:30 Eastern time. This will be blank. Okay. This will be blank and just wait for the alerts to happen. Click on the alert. If you like what you see, go for it. Okay. Now, then what you've done is so you have created a doc, which is, I'll call that advanced. So you created a doc. YL. YL, sorry. So if you don't want things to go, okay, you had to, okay, here's what you can do. Well, you must have created a doc, but you did not want that to go into the doc. Is that what you're saying? Okay. So go to tools, click on tools, okay? And then go to the options, tools options. And where is it now? Okay, click on layouts, click on layouts. So what you have got is on opening windows, you have got this thing checked, open in dock window, right? You've got that checked. Maybe you didn't know you checked it, but so, okay. So yeah, uncheck it and then save it. Yeah, every time you open a window, a scan or anything, it's going to go into some dock, which you're not necessarily wanted to do. Why did you create a dock? I mean, docks are cool. I like them, except they taxed my system too much. And I don't talk about them at all because most people don't use docks, dock windows. All docking means is I could take all of these windows and put them in a container so I can move them all at the same time. That's all docking is. It's not necessary, but I did find that it seem to tax my system. And others at Trade Ideas have said the same thing. So probably most of us don't dock. Now, here's something I should go over with some of you who have several monitors, because that's when docking really, help. Because if you wanted to move something over onto one monitor all at once, you could do things like that. But you don't really have to do that. So if you have multiple monitors, please listen carefully because you may not know this. So the first thing you do is take your toolbar and put it in what you'll designate as your main monitor. Okay. And then put all your Trade Ideas windows on your main monitor. Put the other Trade Ideas windows that you may have on your other monitors. So, for instance, I've got the gap continuation on another monitor. I've got the combo scan on another monitor. Okay, I've got my AI on another monitor. So what you do is you put them all exactly where you want them on all your monitors. We don't have a mobile trade setup, no. It'd be pretty tough to use this, as a mobile trade setup. No, I don't. When I travel, I'm done. I don't trade when I travel. I'm done. I don't do anything. I take a break. So, so you've got your toolbar. So you've rearranged or you've arranged all of your Trade Ideas windows. Could be charts, doesn't matter. Anything pertaining to Trade Ideas windows, put them exactly where you want them on all your monitors. Once you've done that, next step, tools. Click on tools from the toolbar. Go to options. Click on tools and then options. And then again, when you see that layouts right there, layouts, check open relative to main window. Check that and then save it. And don't forget to save your work. When you exit Trade Ideas, make sure you do save your work. But then when you load Trade Ideas the next time, all of your Trade Ideas windows will be exactly where you want them to be in all your monitors. Okay? So if I went over that too quickly, just let me know. I can do it again. But it's that's what I do. 20 minutes, guys, 20 minutes. And I really mean it. I cannot answer anything after 20 minutes. Okay? I'm literally shutting down. Probably about 2 minutes to 2 minutes to 2. Um, were you listening to Steve when he was in YouTube between 12 and 1, Dwayne? Okay. Yeah, so they're hoping. They're hoping. Probably not tomorrow. I know they looked at a build overnight. Seems to be stable. They want to make sure they've got everything in this build, though. So I doubt it's going to be available tomorrow. So probably, hopefully on Tuesday. Monday. Remember, Monday's a market holiday. Yeah, plans, sleep for 3 days. Okay, guys, EFTY just got halted on the way down. 812, a capital group. The stars, those of you who are bilingual enough to know what 812 means, 812. Guys, SOGP on the move again. Remember I was saying, it might set up again. So there was a nice little base right here. There's your orange, and now another transition to blue. I'm not doing it, guys. I mean, I'm done. I'm taking off so soon, so I'm not going to take this one. But you can sort of see there's a little buy flag right there. Yeah, so there, that's all they are. So what you're seeing when you say what you're seeing, so there was the alert price at 947, and there's your stop. So and obviously none of these work today because I mean there's the alert price, and the last price is 130, and I don't even think they really ran much. This is not a this is a very blah day for the AI, to be honest. Not just because only had three alerts, but that's what you're seeing. You're seeing these are real time alerts. So at 940, there was an alert for ICCM at 125 with a stop at 121. Hit the stop, still below the stop. So I mean that's nothing more that but it maybe later on in the day, maybe later on in the day, it'll get going. That's why use it like a watch list. Maybe it gets going. Same thing with the AQB. The PCG has not budged. But that's what you're seeing, okay? And that's what you'll see every day. This window will be blank until at least 940. Doesn't mean you'll get an alert at 940 necessarily, but that will be the earliest you'll see an alert. And then again, if you how you trade it, if you trade it, will be up to you. I actually like waiting for the reentries and seeing, because the entry will give you a better. Now, you're not going to get a reentry price every day because, again, it has to hit the stop and then come halfway between the stop and the original alert price. You're right. AQB did go up. I mean, if you're taking it at, I mean, it gave you a minor gain from 142 to 153. You are right, but nothing, nothing fantastic. I'm just waiting to see if I get a little bit more of a move on the LTRX. This is the one I'm in. This is again from the combo scan. Great watch list. Another really, really good watch list. Even if they don't move from where the original alert was, but sometimes they pull back, and then, but it's alerting you to these are stocks that are trading very abnormal. Remember now it's abnormal option activity plus a 10-day daily break plus high relative volume. So when you look at LTRX, it's a cheap one. Look at the relative volume; it's 15 minimum in that span. It has to be 8. It has to be trading abnormally option wise. It hasn't traded a lot of contracts today, 1,090 right now, but that's 7.6 times normal. Okay, so the combination of abnormal volume plus abnormal option activity can really lead you to a nice little watch list for the day. And these are in powder blue, so these are long suggestions. You do get the short suggestions also. If it was in brown, nothing today. Yeah, I mean, SOGP is not showing up there because why? Doesn't trade. Oh, it does trade options. Interesting. Oh, it was there. Of course, it was right here, right here. So, like, I mean, the option. Now, notice there, 500. That's the minimum number of options it has to be trading. Now, right now, of course, it's traded 8,700. But at the time of the alert, it is not out. No, the Money Machine Simulator is not out yet, developed in our YouTube room. Well, position and range just tells me where it is in the day's range. You know, is it at the high? So right here, for instance, okay, looking at my this TCOM, which is probably awesome. So position in the range, when you see a little bit of white there, that means it's not quite at the high of the day. Okay, and you can see not quite at the high of the day. So if you're looking for stocks near the high of the day, this is, you know, an interesting thing to look at. If you're looking at stocks that are above yesterday's high, we have position in yesterday's range. So if you use that filter, for instance, and you used put 100 as a minimum in the filter, that means the stock has to be at least at the high of yesterday. We have a lot of position ranges. Look at Victoria's Secret. Remember how much was really high in the pre-market, got up to 25. That was a positive, but look at it now. So that's the flip side. When it's red, just a sliver of white that you can see there, that means it's at the bottom, it's at the low of the day. But we have a lot of different position and ranges. How you use it, of course, is up to you, but you know, again, if I look at this momentum scan, so if you search and you type in position, you see we have a lot of different position in ranges. Where is it? So the position in the 5 minute range, is it the high of the 5 minute range or low? Where is it? So here are all the different time frames we have: 5, 15, 30, 60. This is the days range. This is what I was talking about, the position in previous days range. So if you wanted to see stocks that were above yesterday's high, you add that filter and you put 100 in here. That would mean at the very least it has to be at yesterday's high. If you want it at yesterday's low, you would put 0 in here. Okay, so that would be at yesterday's low. Put a negative number, it has to be below it. Put 102 here, it has to be, above it. Has to be above it. And you would just add. So if you really wanted to see stocks that are above yesterday's high, you would add that filter to your scans as an example. But we have a lot of different position in ranges. You know, look at the 20-day range. That's why I like looking at the position in the lifetime range to see where is this? Is this a super weak stock? Or so look at Victoria's Secret, VSCO. That 13%, if you can see it, 13.8% in red. What that would mean, imagine this were the lifetime candle. This is the daily candle. But imagine if we could have a lifetime candle for it. It would be near the bottom. Okay, right near the bottom. Whereas SOGP, now it says 155 because it's looking left. It's looking left, but 155 means it's at the lifetime high. Not today's, but so that obviously, I mean, that means it's. That's why I say I like to look at these because it tells me whether or not we're getting into a lifetime high. But some people don't care about the lifetime, but you might be interested in a 2 year high, or a 3 month high, or 20-day or a 5 day. You know, we have all these different, or where it is, not necessarily the high or the low, but just where is it? That's because you don't have it added. Okay. All these can be added. These are just filters. Okay. So if I right click and click on configure and then columns, I can search. And so you can add, these are just filters, right? These are just all the filters that we've got, every single filter that we've got. Okay. So these are just filters. So you can add what you want. You may not necessarily want what I've got here in my single stock window. But you can add anything you want as long as it's a filter. So if I wanted the average daily volume over 5 days, I would left click on it, highlight it, and then show the column. Yeah, I mean, because I don't care about financials too much, but some do. I mean, so you can have all, look at all if I click on configure again, and then the category, and then if I click on fundamentals, some care about market cap, some care about, days, like all these held by insiders, institutions, etc. These are all the fundamentals that we've got. Maybe you want them on, to be able to see them. I don't, but it's completely customizable. Now, I will say this: move them around. It's not easy. It's pretty archaic, but to get them in the order you want and all that. But I mean, it can be done. Now, I'm sharing probably this one. I'm sharing this one, I believe. Let's just take a look. Okay, so this is the single stock window. So I'm going to open it up and just see what it looks like. Yeah, so this is what it looks like. Okay, so it's not quite the same as, but it has the lifetime range. It has the. Oh, are you kidding me? It doesn't have the position. Well, maybe that's why you said it didn't have. I can't believe it doesn't have today's range. The position into there it is, right there, position and range. So you could take this and then you could modify it however you want. The only thing I added here was the profile. You don't have to do that though. So if you want to take this and say, okay, but I also want the profile, you just grab the profile and this icon show up. And if you want, you make it to the right. Okay, so that's what I've done. And of course, obviously I've stretched it out. Okay, but I am sharing it. Well, don't forget to have them use my code, RC. Either Barry 22 or Barry 20. Well, probably Barry 22. I would not suggest you, start off with an annual premium. Okay, guys. Well, listen, it's 1:55. I think I will take off now. I'll just maybe hang around for another minute or so. But I just want to, again, thank everybody for all the help all day long. And the room tomorrow, the main room will open tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern time. I'll get on the mic at about 9. I'll open the YouTube room sometime between 8:30 and 8:40, getting on the mic at 9 there also. William says he's going to keep the room open. I think he said 3:55, right? So I do have to shut down the YouTube room right now, though I can't keep that open. Again, I'll put my homepage link in again, though. If you do want to head over to the main room after I shut down YouTube, the main room is still open till probably about 3:55. Nobody's talking and there's no screen sharing, but there's still plenty of activity. So again, for those of you in YouTube, click on my homepage link, and then here is the link to get, or the way to get into the trading room. Okay, the other trading room. So I'll leave that up for a moment. Okay, I'm out of here, guys. So again, thanks for all the help. We'll see you tomorrow. So stopping the screen share or muting myself, main room, stopping the screen sharing. And now I'm closing down the YouTube room.